You still love her? You still look at her like you did months ago, like she's everything you asked the universe for. She's still there, across the room, across the dinner table, next to you, on the couch. That maybe, if you had just been more supportive, more romantic, more whatever, she wouldn't be drifting. You go back over every conversation in your head, like you're re-looking for evidence in a crime you didn't know you were part of. You ask yourself, did I miss the signs? Did I change? Did I become boring? Too emotional? Too safe? Not enough. Because when someone pulls away without explanation, you don't just grieve the love, you question your own worth. And here's the brutal truth. Emotional distance rarely announces itself. It just happens, slowly, quietly, and that silence gets filled with stories. Stories you write to protect her, to excuse her, to keep the dream of us alive. You tell yourself she's just going through something, that it's just a season, that you're being impatient. You wait, you try harder, you love louder, you chase softer. You start shaping yourself around a hope that maybe she'll come back, but you feel it. In the way she touches you differently, in the way her eyes don't linger the way they used to, in the way her body is present, but her soul is somewhere else, and you don't know where. And the worst part is, she won't talk about it, or if she does, it's surface level, dismissive. I'm just tired. Nothing's wrong. You're overthinking, but you're not. But something's changed, and the worst part is, no one told you when it happened. It was no argument, no confession, no dramatic goodbye. Just this slow, quiet drift, like a soul fading out of a room you're still standing in. She's still here, but you can't reach her anymore. And you've tried. You've been gentle, present, patient. You've asked how her day was, pulled her in closer when she felt far. Tried to read her mind, decode the silences, soften the distance. You tell yourself, maybe it's just stress. Maybe she's tired. Maybe she'll come back. But deep down, you know. You feel it in your stomach. That sick, quiet ache that says, I'm loving someone who isn't fully here anymore. And you don't want to believe it, because she hasn't said it. She hasn't left. She hasn't given you a reason to walk away. But love isn't about words. It's about presence. And hers has been slipping, slowly, silently. It's the kind of heartbreak no one prepares you for. When the person you love doesn't break your heart, they just stop showing up in the way they used to. They stop seeing you, stop holding space for you, start living in another world, one they don't invite you into anymore. And you're left standing in the doorway, watching, waiting, loving, but never quite being let back in. And it's confusing, because everything looks the same. You still make coffee, still text each other, still sleep in the same bed, but the energy is gone. The spark, the ease, the laughter that used to live between you, it's all distant. She hugs you with her arms, but not with her heart. She listens, but she doesn't hear you anymore. You share a life, but not a connection. So you start doubting yourself. Maybe you're overthinking it. Maybe you're too sensitive. Maybe you're expecting too much. But that's what emotional abandonment does. It makes you question your own reality, because nothing's been said. No one slammed the door. It's just pulled away, quietly. And now you're doing emotional CPR, trying to revive a connection that's dying in slow motion. You still love her, but you can't feel her anymore. And that's what's breaking you. Not a breakup, not betrayal. It's just the ache of loving someone you can no longer touch. Not with your hands, but with your heart. You start convincing yourself it's your fault. That maybe you did something wrong. That maybe if you had just been more supportive, more romantic, more whatever, she wouldn't be drifting. If you go back over every conversation in your head, like you re-looking for evidence in a crime you didn't know you were part of. If you ask yourself, did I miss the signs? Did I become boring? Is it too emotional? Too safe? Not enough? Because when someone pulls away without explanation, you don't just grieve the love, you question your own worth. And here's the brutal truth. Emotional distance rarely announces itself. It just, happens. Slowly, quietly. And that silence gets filled with stories. Stories you write to protect her, to excuse her, to keep the dream of us alive. You tell yourself she's just going through something, that it's just a season, that you're being impatient. You wait, you try harder, you love louder, you chase softer. You start shaping yourself around the hope that maybe she'll come back. But you feel it, in the way she touches you differently. In the way her eyes don't linger the way they used to. In the way her body is present, but her soul is somewhere else, and you don't know where. And the worst part is, she won't talk about it, or if she does, it's surfacely dismissive. I'm just tired. Nothing's wrong. You're overthinking, but you're not. You're feeling something she's not naming. And that mismatch between what your body senses and what her words deny. That the gaslight that burns the deepest. Because now, not only are you losing her, you're losing yourself. You're learning to doubt your own perception of intimacy. You're learning to ignore the truth your heart already knows. And that's how men disappear. Not loudly, quietly, gradually. Relationships they still want, but can no longer feel. Because when you love her and can't reach her, you stop reaching for you. You put all your focus on her, on fixing, proving, performing. You abandon your emotional needs. You stop asking if you're okay, and instead ask, what else can I give her so she doesn't leave? And that's the beginning of self-erasure. But here's the thing you need to hear. Maybe for the first time, loving someone who won't meet you emotionally is not noble. It's not romantic. It's not strength. It's self-betrayal. Yes, love requires patience. Yes, people go through things. But when connection becomes one-sided, when you keep showing up and she keeps shrinking away, you have to stop asking, how do I get her back? And start asking, why am I the only one fighting for this? Because this isn't about her anymore. This is about you, your dignity, your peace, your ability to love without losing your center. There comes a point, a quiet breaking point, where you realize you can keep reaching for someone who's not reaching back. Not because you're bitter, not because you stopped loving her, but because you finally started loving yourself. And that moment, no longer whispering her name in your chest, no longer wondering what else you could have done. Not because you stopped loving her, but because you stopped abandoning yourself to hold on to her. This isn't the part that feels triumphant. It's not revenge. It's not some bold declaration of strength. It's quieter than that. It's the first night you fall asleep without checking her status. The first day, you don't pretend to be fine. You actually feel okay. The first moment you look in the mirror and realize you've been so busy loving someone else, you forgot what it felt like to be on your own side. That's what this was always about. It was never just about her. It was about a part of you that kept disappearing just to be chosen. It doesn't look like a scream. It doesn't come with fireworks. It comes in the stillness. Maybe at 1 a.m., sitting in the car or standing in the shower. That moment when you finally whisper to yourself, this is hurting me more than it's healing me. And it breaks you. Not because you're letting go of her, but because you're finally facing the truth. She already let go. And you were the only one holding on. Letting go doesn't mean you stop loving her. It means you stop abandoning yourself in the name of loving her. It means you stop begging in silence. Stop bending in the dark. Stop hoping that someday she'll wake up and remember how much you mattered. Because the truth is, love that has to be earned again and again isn't love, it's survival. And you weren't made to survive in your own relationship. The hardest part isn't the goodbye. It's realizing that you've been saying goodbye to yourself for months now, just to keep her close. You stopped smiling like you used to. Stop asking for what you need. Stop speaking your truth because you were afraid it would push her further away. So you settled for presence without intimacy. It's for a body next to you, even when her soul was miles away. But that's not love. That's emotional starvation. And men live there far too often. Quiet, numb, loyal to a version of her that no longer exists. So here's the truth. The uncomfortable, freeing truth. Sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do is stop reaching. To stop texting when the silence gets unbearable. To stop proving your worth when she stops seeing it. Stop rewriting the story just to avoid facing the ending. Because love should be a mutual meeting, not a one-sided chase. And if you're always the one reaching, always the one pulling the weight, always the one trying to fix what she won't even name, then you're not in love. You're in a loop, a painful, confusing loop where your care becomes currency. And you keep spending it on someone who stopped showing up emotionally months ago. Todd, that's not your fault, okay? But it is your responsibility now to end the cycle, to come back home to yourself, to stop asking if you're enough for her and start asking if this love is enough for you. Because when you stop reaching, you start returning. Not to bitterness, not to indifference, but to self-respect, to clarity, to peace. And maybe one day, she noticed the space you no longer try to fill. Maybe she'll reach back. Maybe she won't. But by then, you won't need her to, because you'll be full, not from her love, but from finally choosing your own. And now, it's just you. The reaching has stopped. The tension has left your shoulders. You're no longer checking your phone at midnight. The part of you that thought love required shrinking. That thought care required chasing. That thought staying loyal meant staying silent about what you needed. But now, you've learned something she never said, but always taught you. When someone stops reaching back, it's not your job to pull harder. It's your cue to return to yourself. Because real love never asks you to disappear. It never asks you to wait in silence while your soul gets smaller. It never rewards you for staying when you're being emotionally starved. You loved her. That was real, okay? And maybe part of you always will. Love, the kind that grows, that heals, that holds. That kind of love can't exist without presence, without mutual effort, without truth. Okay. And now, that's the only kind of love you'll accept. So if no one has told you this before, hear it now. You are not weak for loving deeply. You are not broken because she faded. You are not unworthy because she stopped reaching. You are human. You are healing. You are coming home to yourself, okay? And one day, when love comes again, as it always does, you won't have to reach so far, because the woman who's meant for you will meet you where you are.